Hello, hello, good morning, and happy Sunday. Hopefully you're all having a great weekend. It is hot here. We're right in the middle of summer, or I guess we're at the beginning of summer. And it has been scheduled to be over 100 degrees for the last couple days, and probably for the next couple days too. So 100 degrees Fahrenheit, which is, I don't know what that is in Celsius off the top of my head, but extremely hot. The type of weather where you just turn on air conditioning and lie down and don't do anything. So I don't know how long I want to stream before I end up going and doing the rest of my chores. So that way I could just basically lie down and do nothing the rest of the day. But let's see. What am I working on? Oh, I'm pulling this up. Oh, and that even remembered how wide to be. That's perfect. Okay, so we have you. We're going to open up Screeps today because that's where we are. And we have our Docker container still up. Let's see if I can get that going. All platform stuff. Let's see. Right, I did a bunch of Docker stuff with platform during the week. Here it is. Okay, so, oh right, because we have the name Screeps Arena. No, not today. Okay, so if you still exist, oh, there's that Screeps Arena. It is exited. So what I want to do is Docker start Screeps Arena, Docker. Let's exec. And this actually just might start doing its thing too. Actually, I don't know. Let me try. Now let's get logs. Docker logs, Screeps Arena. Yeah, it's up for 50 seconds. What is it? It's Docker logs dash F for follow, Screeps Arena. Yeah, I don't think making a change to this is gonna do anything. I don't think it's running as it were, like the at least the compilation part. So if I make a change to you, so let's go into our final test here. If I hit save, yeah, nothing happens here. So logs is not what I want. I want to do a Docker exec. Go into there. Then we can do Docker Screeps deploy -m. Tutorial 10. Oh yeah, which is this one that remembers. And this should work. Okay, there we go. So you copied compiled. Oh, right. And I want to do Docker, sorry, not Docker, cargo watch. It would be interesting to run this as a container that auto exits. Then I can do that outside of this. That would be interesting too. Okay, so cargo watch dash X. Okay, so for execute a Docker thing. And so then I want a cargo Screeps deploy -m tutorial 10. Oh, probably quote that so it's all together. Maybe. There it goes. Okay, so compiled, copying, and copied. So that's the install. If I hit save, it does it all again. Okay, great. Perfect. Homeless, hello. How can you create your own CentOS-based operating system? Do you really want to create an operating system, or do you just want to just have something used? Because I remember back in the day, I have no idea if this is a thing anymore. Back in the day, there was a create your own operating system. Let me see. It was like a DIY Linux. Is that still like a thing? There was this like entire instruction set and everything else. See, this is from 2018, so no, that's too late. But I bet it's generally the same idea. Compile your own Linux. So sort of. So like things like this. Oh, wait, no. Here, that. Nope. I don't have a command to make it exactly the size. That would be nice. Okay, so this, from what I can tell, is not going to be creating your own Linux by compiling the Linux kernel from scratch, from what I understand. Although, is that true? Maybe not. But this article seems to be pretty full-fledged. I haven't followed it or not. So I used to do this. I did this a couple times where I created my own Linux distribution on a server in my house and was able to run with that. Uh-oh, Nightbot. Hold on, let me see what happened. I keep on not opening up, not creating a bookmark for this. phoenixnap.com KB build Linux kernel. Haven't heard of that one. But how to build Linux kernel from scratch, step-by-step guide. And that seems pretty cool too. It's I think any of these things would be good, but I've never done it myself. So I am not the best person to ask. So I'm just going to say I don't know. I don't know what the best tools and sources are. Is it wise to add a WAF module to Nginx web server web application firewall? I usually like to have my firewall separated from Nginx, just sort of like handled by the different part of the system. So I have my application firewall over, here, let's say, and then I have like Nginx, and so that way it like gets through the firewall, that gets the Nginx, and Nginx just sort of handles it from there. So usually I like to have two different systems sort of working on that way. And then that way, sometimes I would even put my firewall outside of the system on another system. So this is where you might have something like security groups inside of, like in AWS, you'd have security groups. In DigitalOcean, are they just called is it just called like a firewall? It might be. Where you're basically saying, okay, these ports, these IP addresses, this is what is allowed in, this is what is allowed out, and all that fun stuff. But yeah, I don't really do much with web application firewall inside of Nginx. Kendrak, hello. You're a PHP developer searching for a new language to learn and maybe have a career switch on it. More focus on backend stuff, even if not web. Do you think that Rust is a good one, or maybe recommend another one? So you're a PHP developer. There's tons of good jobs out there for that. So what I mean by that is there's a good history. Like people can look and say like, okay, this is modern. This is good. You probably do have some of that misconceptions about like, oh, PHP, right? That's that language from like, 2015 or like 2005 where we all hated it. Like, because if you're using modern PHP, like PHP 7 plus, then yeah, it's really good. And you probably know a lot of the backend stuff already. Let's see. Rust could be good, but big caveat. You may not, like, it's not necessarily going to get a job in Rust. You could potentially leverage that to show how you can learn and like how you know systems, and you're not a one trick pony, as it were, with PHP. You're a software developer, you know PHP and Rust. Therefore, that proves you can learn other languages really easily. So if somebody comes up and says, hey, can you learn Go? Can you learn Node? Can you learn, whatever for the backend, Ruby and Python? Then it will be obvious when you say, well, yeah, of course I can. So like that's where I would say Rust would come in helpful. Or you can just pick one of those other languages and learn them too. Learn C#, it's in high demand now anyways. Yeah, so I would say experiment around with different languages and see which ones you like. You already know programming, so picking up another language should be pretty easy, and just go with that. Go deep into that. C# is good, but like there's plenty of others that are also really good. So go with also region by region is different. Like if you're in a specific region, try to find where the jobs really are. So like here in Denver, it's like almost all the jobs are in Node.js. In Silicon Valley, I noticed that the jobs have switched and we're like going back to it's like a weird mix of like, okay, they got PHP, but they also got Ruby on Rails, and like that sort of seems to have like gotten big again. Different regions, like there's a subsection of town in Denver where all the jobs are Java in the backend. So it's like very interesting where like, okay, if you want to get a job at these companies, they're this language, they're this stack, just learn that. It happens. It's like that could be helpful. All right, so we got our building going here. I need to launch the game. Okay, so we are on our final test. So if I remember correctly, we got something compiling the other day, although I don't really think we're doing much. We created our roles, so we have our roles that we're gonna do. We have our impl from. Right. Okay, so we have our strategy here. So we get objects by prototype. If tick equals 1, create tower construction sites. Right, okay, so we want to create the construction sites. So that's the first thing we do, is we create a bunch of construction sites, and then we have all of our creeps. So we have a vector of creeps, but they're just my creeps. I don't care about the enemy creeps. You know what I could do? I could like move this out so I can get the enemy creeps and my creeps at the same time, because that's kind of important. Now in this case, we know we only have enemy creeps. So let's do a function get creeps. We'll take like is my, and I want you to be a boolean, and we're gonna return a vec of creep. Creep.my is equal to is my, and then you are going to be get creeps, true for my creeps, then I want an enemy creeps. Me. Okay. What do they mean with layers of abstraction? So, I guess like the first question would be, do you know, like, I guess like, do you know is a boolean true or false? That's wrong. How would you define abstraction in the context of programming? Okay, so we got roll count roles. Like, can you use it without knowing how it's implemented? Okay, that's a great sort of like foundational part for like the layers of abstraction. So then let's extrapolate that. So if we know we're going to layers of abstraction, and we also know that an abstraction is using something without having to like know how it's implemented, then if we like break that out, can we have multiple layers of abstraction? And what would that look like? Okay, so if tick 25, okay, so we're doing the logging every 25 ticks, so I don't just do it every time. Oh, and I'm counting out all their rolls. That's what I'm doing. Right, so we got the roll count, and we do all this stuff. Like walk, stop, go left, go right. Yeah, so like you might have something like instructions for walking, stopping, going left, turning right, turning left. And then you might have now, you need to like have instructions for like going to the store, buying something, and coming back, which is now just gonna build abstractions off of abstractions. So this is abstractions on abstractions is pretty popular in object-oriented programming, and there's a certain sense in functional programming that also does this too. At the extreme end, it becomes quite dangerous. Not because like the code can do bad things, but because it can get to the point where you get diminishing returns. So an abstraction is great, but then like 20 different layers of abstractions now makes it really hard to understand what's happening, where it's happening. And it can really quickly become a problem, especially if like you're not available. So now like the people who understand what that code does and how it works, they're essential for working with it. And there's what we at my work we now call the dream factor. So you go off and you just decide, I'm gonna take a vacation. I'm gonna I get sniped off by a dream job that pays me $1 million a year, something like that. If I like that a lot more than the bus factor, which is if you how many team members can be hit by a bus before you're screwed with working on a certain system. With too much abstraction, that factor becomes like 1 or 2, like, which is not good. Sometimes it becomes 0 because you forget how it works, and then you have to relearn it, which is not good if you have a bug and you need to fix it immediately. So I like just enough abstraction, if that makes sense. And I grow it. Like, if as I need it, I will add more layers of abstraction, but I won't try to predict how much abstraction I need. Or at least I try not to. It's really fun. That's the problem. Abstraction is fun. Okay, so we have our get creeps. Okay, so we have our creeps, we have our enemy creeps. I'm not doing anything with the enemy yet, but we have them. Okay, so we have okay, we get a roll count, and then we just log the roll counts. So that's great. Now, what I want to do is have a spawner. So we want to tell our spawn to create a creep. And we're going to create it using the roll counts. Okay, so we have our U8. I don't have like a number, like a desired number for these. I think right now we're just counting them, and it's like, okay, it's just 0 plus that one. Okay, so I don't have like this is a desired number of rolls yet. I don't know if I want to create one or if I just am going to like deal with it. But okay, so the first one is we want a spawner function. So want a function spawn creep. So we're going to take in a spawn. It's going to be a reference to a spawn. One guy told you that we need to test only the important parts of our application and not everything. But when using TDD, you write first the test and then code. So you need to write test for all code. It will be written, or is this not true? So it's like I would say that yes, we do need to test everything. And that's because even like, I guess this is like a core tenet of Rust, right? Like Rust basically says, look, the experiment of just be good and don't mess up is a failure. Like that doesn't work. For a long time, that was like the argument in C and C++, which is, yes, we can cause all of these different bugs in our code, but we're not going to because we know what we're doing. But then just more and more studies have shown that no, even the best programmers in the world are making mistakes, and therefore causing these bugs, which maybe we should like just have processes and processes and tools that prevent us from having these problems. One such tool for these bugs could be TDD. So, okay, 100% of our code is covered in tests, and therefore we're confident that when we make a change over here, we don't break it over there. Now, not all tests are adequate. Like a lot of people will come up and say, well, you know, I can write just really crappy tests. Absolutely, you can write really terrible tests, and that also isn't good. So we don't have any automated systems in place for like test quality. That's where pair programming comes in. That's where code review comes in, and like try to verify, hey, the tests we're writing are good. If you have good quality tests, I actually care a little bit less about the true perfect quality code, because then I'm confident we can refactor that code and not break everything. But I guess like to the real point, like a long-winded way to get back to what you're saying, Homeless, we can't trust that a piece of the code that's in the non-essential part is not going to break the essential part, or vice versa. And then let's just step away from programmer hat a little bit and put on like a business hat. What is non-essential? Like what do we mean by important parts of our application versus not important parts? Like if a customer is using something, that's important. And all of our code should be supporting our customers doing something. Meaning that if it's not important, it shouldn't be in the code. We should remove it from the code. So yeah, I guess like if it's not important, it should be removed from the code. If it is important because the customer is using it and a team member doesn't think that it's important, that's an educational moment. Like, no, it might be boring, but it's still really, really important. Everything is important. I hope that helps. You think important part is that contains business logic, the domain model. Okay, but what part of your code isn't being like touched by or affected by or affecting the business logic part? And is that and if the answer is no, is it because customers aren't using that feature? In which case the answer is remove the feature. Spawn. Okay, so we're gonna have a spawn here. That's that. Dota, hello. Okay, so spawn creep, spawn. You know what? I should do this over there like that too, so you can see everything. Okay, so we have our spawn creep, and then I want our roll count, so our rolls. I guess this would be the roll count. which is this hash map with a role and a U8 inside. And then I don't necessarily think I need to return anything from this. We just want to spawn something and then probably add it to the roll count as soon as we spawn it. So what we could do is we could loop through the roll count here. I told you that we need to do things that gives us the best return on our time investment. Writing tests and maintaining tests for every piece of code is a lot of work. Okay, so yes, it is a lot of work. It's your job. That's your job. Okay, so let's take an airplane, for example. So there are certain parts of an airplane that aren't critical for flying, but are critical for the business. Don't just write tests for the sake of it. Absolutely, you're right. We don't want an excess of tests, but we also don't want complete areas of the test to just not be covered at all. So Dodo, we've been chatting about, should we have 100% test coverage or only test coverage of essential parts, whatever that means, because like that's the problem important parts, because like the word important is not like super well defined in any conversation. So I would say 100% test coverage is what you want to go towards, but at the same time, you want them to be lower than 100%. Like I've been going more towards 100% recently, but with a key here that if 100% might be like if you have end-to-end tests, like integration tests that hit 100%, you don't need 100% unit tests. Does that make sense? Like 100% integration tests is really like where I'm thinking of here. Unit tests can be really helpful for some things. You might want to keep them around, and then sometimes you might want to delete them if you just rarely ever touch that piece of code, and you're having it be covered by some other system. The way you saw it done well is there's a kind of testing strategy. Yeah, as long as like having a strategy and a policy for this is really important. With stuff like smoke tests on the peripherals and unit test developer tests on the internal business logic. And I think what's important there is to consider that like you have those manual tests, that's the smoke test. You have end-to-end automated tests, and then you have unit tests. All of them together form how much is being tested. So I would say together, everything should be 100%. I don't think there's any value in just saying like, okay, get to 100% unit tests, and then also get to 100% end-to-end tests. I don't know if there's any value in that. There's probably a negative value in that because it's just going to increase time. But let's take an example of like an airplane. So important parts, like how do you define an important part of an airplane, and then what you're going to test? Well, that it can take off, that it can fly, that it can land, that you can tell how much fuel is in there, that the external lights work, that the radio works. Like all of those things are important, right? So therefore we need to have tests for those to make sure that they're working. Some people also testing third-party libraries they use. Yes, we don't need those. You mock third-party libraries, exactly what Dota said. You mock them because you trust that third-party libraries work. If you don't trust that third-party libraries work, you rewrite them yourself. You fork it, you rewrite it, and you maintain it as external library with its own tests. Okay, back to the airplane. So then, but now we have like internal stuff. These are maybe not essential for like the running of the plane, but things like that the seats can all recline fully. The seats can, like, the tray tables actually like go down. That the seat belts, you know, fasten and are comfortable. That the, you know, all the little things work for you. All of that stuff is not, well, maybe the seatbelts are essential to like the safety of it. Everything else is comfort, but that's still really important to the business unless you're like Frontier. Is it Frontier? I think that's Frontier, like the really cheap one, which they blatantly state our importance is just getting you there as cheaply as possible, and you know that going in. But if you go on board an expensive airline and you get first class and nothing is comfortable, nothing works the way you expect it to from a user's perspective, it doesn't matter that the plane is going to get you there safely anymore. The user doesn't care and won't use the product. So that's my sort of like feeling, is like everything really is important, and if it isn't, it shouldn't be there. Because important in my mind is the user uses it and gets value from it. Let's see, in chat you're talking about classical and London style of test. I hadn't really heard of that like sort of classification of it, but the main difference is the use of mocks. Interesting. When does a bug become a feature? So that okay, so I would say that that's a marketing type thing of they can choose to do that. I would still argue that if it wasn't planned, like if it was planned for, like if you put it in like this is what, like in the design, we're updating the design, we're saying, hey, this is going to be like something that happens and it's going to be something weird. That's a planned bug. That's a feature. If you have some unplanned thing, I would still call it a bug, at least internally. Externally, they made, like the sales team may choose not to call it a bug and call it a feature to like help with sales and like help not tank the image of the company. But I would still assign it the type of work unplanned / bug, and track it as such, because it is to fix it is not value adding, it is value fixing. Okay, so spawn creep. I want to go through our roles. And I guess our first thing is I want to be able to like grab out, like there's some of these that are more important than others. Like, for example, if I do not have a spawn refiller, I need to create a spawn refiller. So if it dies, if it gets attacked and killed, I need to recreate it immediately. So this is the first one we check. So spawn refiller. So this would almost be, I don't know. This is going to be a really long and terrible function, and we're going to figure out if we can like change it. The core domain should get better attention than peripheral domains in all aspects, not just testing. That happens naturally though. Anyhow, yeah, I could see getting more attention for it. And I think that the key that I was arguing for is that that doesn't mean no attention. And what that really means is that you want different aspects, and so this is the core of like Agile, is have all the different parts of the organization that represent the customer, that represent, different wants and needs. They should be interacting with the product as you're making it. So if in the airplane sort of analogy that I was creating, that would be have potential like customers walk through and take a look at your product, the airplane, before you release it. They're going to look at things like the seats. They're going to look at things like how comfortable stuff is. Your engineers and like the flight people are going to look at the safety, and they're going to look at like the fuel efficiency, and they're going to look at other stuff. You bring all of them together to make sure that things are working right. They all test this parts that they're the most interested in. The on-site customer is a huge part of XP and Agile. Exactly. Because if you get to the point where only engineers are testing it and only engineers are caring about the quality of it, you're going to miss a huge piece of your code and all that stuff. XP is like Scrum or different. I thought XP predated Scrum, but it might. They have. It's a very fascinating history. People came up with XP also were on the Agile Manifesto. Yes, absolutely. I saw. Let me see. Do I have it anymore? Oh, it was in Rand's chat for Agile. Let's see if I could find it. It was the DoD Agile Scrum. Okay, this is it. This is a fascinating document. This is the U.S. Department of Defense. Don't worry, it's open and cleared for publication. The Department of Defense Guide for Detecting Agile Bullshit. I love the fact that they have an official document for this. Also, it's good. I reviewed it. It's actually good. So, I bring this up because Scrum often is sort of twisted and perverted to a point where it's no longer agile, and it's really just waterfall again in the name of agile. And in fact, they talk about this here a lot, which is detect software projects that are really using agile development versus those that are simply waterfall or spiral development in agile clothing. So it can be pretty. Well, this document is great at like going in and saying like these are signs of. I love the fact that like, okay, here's like all this stuff. It's like, okay, here's a visualization for the executives. But it's really good. It's like questions to ask programming teams. How do you like? And this is where it comes like to actual agile Scrum versus like not, which is how do you test your code? Wrong answers. We have a testing organization. somebody else is responsible for testing. Like that, those are such great answers. Such great wrong answers. So let me. Here is this in case you're interested in checking it out. That document does look good. I know it does. Yash, hello. I shared it with my team. We don't pass on everything that they have, but we are we're moving forwards. We're trying to get better. All right. Spawn creep. This is gonna be a nasty function to begin with because I don't really know the best way to do this now. So we're just going to get something out there, and then we're going to refactor / rewrite as needed. So the big thing here is that I want to go through, and some of these are more important than others. It's like, for example, I want a minimum of 1 and a maximum of 1 for spawner filler. You know, it would be really awesome if I could have like a min max, but I don't think I can. Oh, you know what I can have? I could have a minimum. No, but I still don't know how to. I might need to create an iterator for this. To like iterate through in order from top to bottom. So what I'm thinking of here is like spawner filler. I want 1. I want minimum 1, maximum of 1. Something like that. So that would be like what, a U8, like min max. Builder. Actually, you know what? It would probably be better just to do this as an anonymous structure. So min U8, max U8. To make these exactly the same, I might want then like 0 would be a there is no max. It's like a builder. So if I do this for every single one of these, except the none, okay, so get custom string from creep. Okay, so you become this one. So when we're creating you, is this the only time we're creating them? I think so. I think I can do something like this. Oh no, I can't. Wait, maybe I can do this. So, copy you. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Now you're not going to be U8s. We're going to have to be like specific with this. So for you, let's start with like 1, and then we'll go down here and we'll do something like 1 as well, and then we'll customize this. So why are you upset? Expected value. Wait. Oh, I just need to hit save. Okay, so spawner filler, I want a minimum 1 and a maximum of 1. A builder, I want min 1, max of 1. That's probably fine too. Turret refiller, min 1, max 1. A fighter, min 1, max, let's say like Do I care about this? I don't know if I need like a maximum of like something. I could just do like a max of 5. Oh, and healer, I want like a max of, I don't think I need more than 1 healer at a time. So I have 5 fighters, 5 rangers, and a healer in my military. Now I want to go through this and check to see how many I actually have. Oh, because I'm stuffing that inside the role. Oh, okay. So this might work. So, okay, so spawn creep. I have the roll count. I want to iterate through the roll count. So I'm gonna do 4. It's gonna be, I think it's key value. So it's gonna be the roll and then the count in roll counts. Okay. So that gives me, here's this roll, here's this count. I can now check to see what roll this is and if the count matches that. So we can match on the roll. Now, if this is a none at this time, this is a problem. No, I just don't want to do anything. Like, if I somehow get a none in here, I just want to exit out. For all of you, I want to check. Okay, so if you're a spawn refiller. Oh, wait, no. So we iterate through you. We iterate through what we have. If we have, okay, so spawn refiller, we want to check to see our min and our max. We want to check to see our count. So if our count, so if the count is greater than well, really, if it's I guess I can have less than I can have because these are per these, like per individuals. I kind of want to go back and just do the maximum that I want in this as just a tuple. So hold on, let's go back to you. I went too far. Just gonna do this. So like U8. So, okay, I want 1 refiller. I want 1 builder. I want 1 turret refiller. I want, like we have 3 enemies. I don't think I need more than, okay, let's just be more realistic about this. 2 fighters, 2 rangers, and 1 healer. And we're fine with that. So for you, we're gonna have our, these are our desired, essentially. So then in here we have our actual count of it. So if count is less than desired, then I want to spawn it. And then I probably want to exit out because I can only spawn at one at a time. And the other thing is, like, I don't know if I can spawn. It takes some ticks, I think, for it to respawn. I think. But okay. So spawn refiller. We will do a spawn creep. We have looks like a reference to the array of the body. Okay, so that body. This is just going to be an array. And I want this to be, what is this? This is part. So I want a part. Okay, so you're a spawn refiller. I want you to have the ability to carry stuff and to move and to work. So carry obviously is just like cargo space. Move is the ability to move through, and work is the ability to mine energy from an energy source, which is what we have. So if you have work, so one part work, one part carry, let's say, and then to keep the speed up, we'll do 2 parts move. Like that. That's it. So you're going to give me a result with a creep and a return code. So, if you're okay with this, just go and do it. So if let okay creep. We have the creep here. I then want to update our roll count with what we just did. Which could be interesting because now I'm running into the problem of I'm inside of a loop through roll count and I want to update roll count. That's not gonna fly. I mean, I guess I could intermute this. I have a mutable reference to the count. Okay, so let's update the count. So count plus equals to 1 for that roll. And then also at this time, we want to return. Because we're good and done. You're not happy. I want to dereference you. Right, so now you need to be mutable. I mean, so this I feel is a bad practice here. I have two actions that are happening. I'm telling the game to spawn something, but then I'm mutating this roll count. I don't like that. It is more efficient. That doesn't necessarily mean better in this case. I should only optimize for this if I really absolutely need to. So what if I return the roll that I update? But I may not. So it should be an option with a roll inside. Go back to just a reference here. I don't get an iter mute. We're doing these things still because we have to for fun reasons. And then, okay, we create a body. We create a new creep. I don't increment the count +1. Instead, I want to return roll spawn refiller. Now it needs to have this desired actually, can I clone the roll? Oh, and then you're a sum. Okay, I think that works because now it's just yelling at me about everything else. So at the very end here, if we get through this loop and we don't do anything, we return a none. Mismatch types expected enum final test roll found a reference final test roll. When I clone it, oh, final test roll does not implement clone. Well, that, okay. We can fix that. Okay, so I don't necessarily, oh, I need to attach the roll to this creep. Do I have the custom string, count rolls, tower, run. Right. Okay, I don't have that. Let's create another function for it. So function attach roll to creep. So we're gonna have a roll, which I mean that can be a reference to a roll. Doesn't really matter. And then okay, so we have a roll and we're gonna have the creep. And we're gonna use the reflect API to do this. Because we're looking for get custom string from creep. This key, so where we're using this is this roll right here. So essentially I want to set, okay, it's gonna be the same, same general idea. I want to match, reflect, set. Okay, our target is this JS value, so that's going to be the creep. Property key is going to be roll. Do I have? No, I don't have anything like turns that end. So that's going to be a JS value from stir roll. And then the value is going to be, I need to roll to stir that. Yeah, get comes. So I want to do this one. So impl from, I essentially want to do an impl into JS value. So in this case, I need to pass in a cloned version of this. I could also implement copy for it. So, I mean, it's going to be fairly trivial to copy these. These are just U8s. That's pretty, it's actually, I think, cheaper to copy and clone them than it is to pass by reference, if I remember correctly. But okay, into. So I want to match on self. I don't really care what those are. We're looking at all of these things here, which is like the exact names, which is pretty nice. So I want that. Roll. Okay, so you're to do, this will be a self. I guess you're literally everything else, anything else, so you just become a none. And then here we'll do a, okay, so I want to do a JS value from stir that, and just return this. Oh, sorry, not parentheses. Didn't mean it. Okay, so that's into JS value. Right. That's why I couldn't figure that out. So back down to here. So then for you, I want a reference of, okay, so role is going to be just owned. It'll be this role dot into. And then we're going to have okay and error based upon this. So attach role to creep. If we're okay with this, actually don't care about that, do I? So actually I don't need this. I want an if let error. Okay, so then I want to do a warn. Error setting role on creep. Okay, so we will have the debug of role. And then the creep will be just the number of it. So we'll have our role here. And then the creep dot, we'll get the ID. And I should just actually panic here and stop everything from running. Like no more code happens. All right, what's up with you? You need to be a reference. Borrow move value roll because I did an into here. So let's just fix this. We'll implement copy for you too. Okay, so we get all of you. We're happy. So now here, before I return this, I want to, for this new creep, I want to now attach roll to creep. We have the roll, so I want to deref the roll, and the creep is going to be the new creep. Oh, you need to be a reference. Okay, and that's it for you. So this is a spawn refiller. If I take all of you and we just say, you know what, don't, let's return a none for right now. Is the only one we're going to do right now, because I want to get to the point where I can test this in the code. I want to see like spawn refiller be created. Okay, so spawn creep happens up here. So we have a roll count. So we get that, and we're going to do a spawn creep, pass in a reference to spawn, pass a reference to the roll count. We are going to get we're going to get the roll created. So if let some roll created equals you. It is this roll, and then I want to insert that into the roll count. But it's a hash map, so that should be easy. I guess it's I don't need an entry. I just need to get, mute, and then update. So we're gonna do let count equals roll count dot get mute. This should exist. If it doesn't exist, that's a problem. But it makes me think that I should just do this in a function down here. So function increment roll count. So we'll have a roll and the roll counts. And here's where we'll do our sort of like if let some, this would be the, well, I guess it's both of them, isn't it? Do I get just the value? I can't remember. So count get mute. No, this just gets the value. Okay, perfect. So it just gets the value. Okay, so then I can increment the roll counts here. So if we create the roll, then go ahead and increment roll count, pass it in the roll created, and pass in a reference to, oh, you're going to need to be a mutable reference to the roll count. That way it happens 1, 2, punch, one after the other. You need to be dereferenced. Come on. Oh. Cannot borrow roll count as mutable as is not declared as mutable. Right. Roll count. Mutable. All right. No major errors. We are happy here. Let's... you've been updating this entire time. So we should be good to go. Okay, so we should see that we create a single creep, and then we print out what that creep is. That's the idea. Oh, this would have been a good map. We would have gotten 4 turrets. Okay, but we're now on tick 13 and nothing has happened. Although I don't see any console logs either. There's our creep count. So that's not doing the things. So we run. We get a roll counts. So spawn creep is always saying 0. So it's always a none. That must be what it is. Oh, you know why? Because we don't have any yet. Roll count is empty. Wait, no, is that true? No, it has to have something in it. Because when we create the roll counts, we create a new hash map. Oh no, look at that. Okay, we create a new hash map, but it's empty because there's no creeps in it. Well, that's a thing. Are you planning to do a REST backend API tutorial as well? Yes, I am. So my my current what is it called? My current map flow roadmap. My current roadmap is finish up the front end for the Brooks Builds platform. So that way courses go into that one, and then create a backend, probably an Axum API course, and then that will go on there. And Sundays is my sort of just fun days. So all of that work is happening on weekdays. My current story arc is front end. Yes, the current story arc is front end, and then we're switching over to a back end after that. Although there's some potential back end stuff that we might create in there. Okay, so there's a flaw in my logic here, which is that none of these will ever hit because they don't happen. They don't happen. They don't happen because we they don't happen because we have we don't have any creeps. Even when I do have creeps, like I haven't created a fighter, it won't be in here yet. So that's like, I need to come at this from an opposite direction. What I really want to do is say, hey, for spawn creep, do we have a spawn refiller? And if so, how many do we have? So this logic is incorrect. What I really want to do for this, absolutely glad to continue doing that, Epic. Let's see. So I really want to iterate through role. So we'll start with spawn refiller. That's the most important. I can control the order if I don't do a loop, or I have to create an iterator. As like my first sort of instinct was to create an iterator, and then I shied away from it. Let's see, where am I? Not that. Here it is. So I really want to do and I'm also wondering, like, I think I'm being a little bit too clever with these values inside of here. I don't know if these are helpful. I'm feeling that I want these separated out into, like, probably not a different enum, but either a struct, like really it's a config struct. I don't need this to be dynamic. I just need this to be a config. So changing my mind again. Because like this type of stuff is useless. Like I think it's more helpful to do this elsewhere. And for right now, we're just going to hard code this into spawn creeps. So in spawn creep, we're going to check first spawn refiller. So I want to get that out of, like, check to see if it exists. I guess, yeah, we want to get this out. So let spawn refiller count equals so if let spawn refiller count that will be the actual count of it. So then we can see, okay, if you have one, if you have like less than that. So if spawn refiller count is less than 1, then I want to create one. So body equals, we're going to do so the same thing here again. Part carry, part work, part move, part move. And then from this, I might be able to just like straight return out of here, because then I could do a none from this. We're going to do an else none. Then, okay, so let, if let, okay, guess it's a creep, equals you. Then I want to attach role to creep. We have the role, it's gonna be role, spawn refiller. And then the creep is gonna be this reference to a creep. And we're good there. And then we return out. This is going to be an a sum of the role. Now, if you're an else, this is a none because we returned that. If you're an else, this is also a none. Yeah, this is gonna be terrible. Then we'll just do a bunch of else ifs for this. I don't like it. I think an iterator and then doing this essentially would be, as long as it is, would be the appropriate way to do it. Okay, let's see if this is any better. So far, not. Not seeing a creep be spawned. How much energy do I have? This has 520, but it's like slowly growing. And so our creep counts. Like it should have been able to create them at this time if it could have. So it couldn't. Therefore, oh, but once again, it's attempting to get this in here. So if it can't find this, I don't want to turn none. I want to spawn this creep here. So I want to do this. Now that's exactly the same thing. I want to see if this works first, and then refactor this out by writing another function or two. There's no errors, right? No. Hey, there we go. We have now spawned. Can I find role spawner filler and role count? So we created a role refiller. It has the right body parts, work and carry, and then 2 moves. And we can see spawn refiller 1. Okay, excellent. So then, cannot find role spawner filler and role count. Can I find role spawn? Okay, and role count. So in increment role count, this might actually have to be. Okay, we're gonna do a, what is it called? We're gonna do the upsert thing. So, let count equals role count dot entry role. Or insert 0. Okay, so that will increase that. We won't have an error anymore. So that error won't happen anymore, and then we'll create this, and then there we go. Okay, so you have a role attached to you. We found it successfully. We're good. We're going. We're moving forward again. Now, this is pretty terrible. I'm having this exact same thing, which means I'm gonna have to do it multiple times. That sucks. Basically, if I have never created anything, I need to create this. I need to create it. So I need a function to function spawn creep. What if I can do some consts for the different bodies? I could do an enum, like another enum. So I might just have like several different enums to sort of like deal with this. But okay, so spawn creep, we'll take in a spawn, which is a reference to a structure spawn, and we can take in a body, or we can take in a role type. I could attach them together using like hash maps and other things. Pigalot, hello. You find it best to do it by role type. Like well, like how to I'm thinking about like organize that. So I can have like the role. So I'm passing in the role here. I do need to return, it's going to be an option with the new creep. So there's a creep inside. As bodies become less static later on. Oh yeah, although in this case, in Screeps Arena, that doesn't seem to be the case so far. Although I haven't gotten into some of the more advanced modes yet. We're doing tutorial first, and then we're probably going to go into capture the flag, which we don't create any creeps ever in that one. We just use the ones that are given to us. But yeah, that's true. Because then later on, I could update the role type. Well, I could have a function that like I can have a function that generates the body based upon the role. That actually is probably the best way to do it, right? Okay, so we take in a role here. We take in a spawn. So then we have another function. So create body. That takes in a role. And it returns an array of part. Oh, but I don't know how long this is going to be. I can slice a vector into arrays, right? So this can be a vector of parts. Okay, so let's match on the role. Pigalot, are you programming in Rust for Screeps, or are you doing it in like normal JavaScript or TypeScript? All right, so spawn refiller, these are all, okay, so we're gonna start with, I guess even you, be a vec, that's, okay, so spawn refiller, we know we're going to go with part carry, part work, and then part move, part move. We use TypeScript. You've thought about Rust, but not getting around to trying it. So it's a little bit painful to get it set up initially. I've got everything running in a Docker container over here. So every time I save, it recompiles it and then copies the files over into the other directory. Once you get that going, it's fairly smooth. Although the WebAssembly part of it is a little bit painful. So Rust doesn't allow me to just have things have to have them inside of structs or inside of functions or something else. So because of that, I don't think I have the ability to have state outside of things. So I have to recreate my counts every time. It's not exactly like what I could do in JavaScript, which is part of the reasons to do this. Okay, so not none. Okay, so a builder. The way I'm having a builder is carry, work, move. That's probably exactly the same thing. A turret refiller is the same thing too. Now a fighter. Okay, so we're gonna have part I want fighter part attack. No. Why did I lose my autocomplete? Yeah, part attack. Okay, you know that. I wanted to see the full list. Oh, come on.
What?
It's melee attack. Okay, it looks like attack. It's attack or ranged attack. Oh yeah, and I want tough too. Is the armor. Okay. So I want let's just say I give you like one attack, parts. I want one tough. And then I'm gonna want 2 moves to sort of make up for these. So move. Okay. Yes, I know you're unhappy yet. Ranger. So I want the exact same thing. But instead of attack, I want you to be ranged attack. Healer. You don't have toughness, let's say. I want you to just be fast. So you really just have 2 things. You have move and you have heal. Since when does the healer need any armor? Watch my healer just get murdered right away. And then none is just an empty vector because we're not doing anything. Okay, so really, if we have none, this is a problem. Like, it shouldn't ever happen here. So once again, warn, attempting to build creep body with no roll. And then panic. So I can handle that and fix it. Okay, so here we go. Spawn the creep. We have a role. I want to create a body first. So let our body is going to be equal to create creep body. Pass it in the role. That gives us a vec of parts. I want to now convert this in. I want to get a slice of it so it's an actual array. And then create do the spawn. Then we're going to return an option. So it's going to be so if let okay creep equals spawn creep. All right, so this needs to be a reference. So it's going to be a body. Will that work? That might work. Okay, which case I want to now just creep that. And if we get an else, it's a none. The name spawn creep is defined multiple times. Well, boo. Where? Oh, yes. Spawn creep is here. Okay, so I want to actually change you because this is not really like, this is spawn the actual creep. This is like the real spawn. This is like the thing around it. So I guess like both them, this is in charge of like, this is a controller. This is like the runner spawn creeps. Man, names are hard. Because this is still run the actual thing to like do it. This is, I guess, like a little bit more. So I want to do it like as a controller. I don't know what names to use. I could do, let's see. Control spawner. Control spawner and then spawn creep. So then in here, okay, so if we don't have enough spawn refillers, I want to now we'll just call it and return straight from it just these spawn creep, spawn, and the roll. Ooh. And I want you to also do this exact thing too. Okay, your turn, option creep. Oh, right. I don't want the creep. No, I do care about the creep. So hold on. Want I'll refill this in a little bit. Okay, so we create the creep here. So like if let some creep equals this thing. Then I want to attach. Okay, so we do the attach roll to creep. We have the roll, so that's the roll spawn refiller, and then a reference to the creep. And then I return out. So that's not really helping too much. I could do that here. That might be better. So if I have this creep here, we're gonna do an attach roll to creep. We have this roll and we have the creep there. And so we've attached the roll to the creep and we spawned it. I like that a little bit more. So in this case, I don't want to return the creep anymore. I want to return a roll. So then some roll, otherwise a nut. Then here this becomes a spawn creep, spawn roll and return. There we go. Okay, so now everything should be happening exactly as before. Oh, I have an error. Where's this error coming from? Spawn creep. Okay, you are mismatch types expected. Enum final test roll found reference hash map final test roll U8. Oh. Spawn creep. Right. Because I don't want spawn creep. I want control spawner. Like tell spawner. Words. I do not like that name. I don't think it's a good name. I don't know what a better name is yet. Okay, so you're happy now. So we should have the same outcome here where it creates... Yes, I know it failed. Here we go. Over several different ticks, we've created this... There we go. Okay, perfect. So once I get to 25, we then spawner filler 1. Okay, perfect. I want to now handle the rest of them. So do I want to handle the rest of them, or do I want to like build out the roles for them? So we have a spawner filler. Maybe we should do that. Okay, so we have our creeps. The roles are inside of the creeps. I want to now loop through all of my creeps and then have them run their tasks. So perhaps what I can do is like get the role for the creep, which I think I already have, right? Yeah, get custom string from the creep. Okay, so I have this from creep for a role. So I can create a role from a creep, and that will tell me exactly what it is, which is really nice. So I can get the role. So we spawn the creep, and then I want to get the role. So let role equals role from, and this is a reference to. Oh, I need to loop through my creeps. So for creep and my creeps. I don't need to take ownership of it. Then we're going to do a let role equals role from creep. I keep on hitting like page up and page down on this keyboard. Other than like the location of like home end, page up, page down, like on this keyboard. Everything else I really like about it. Okay, so roll. Okay, so I get the roll from this. Now it could be a none, so we're gonna match on this. So really, I could just match straight on it. So if we're a none, we're not going to do anything. So just a no operation. If we're a spawn refiller, I want to then tell you to do the thing. So I have another function down here. Function run spawn filler roll. We'll take in a creep. I don't necessarily have to return anything for this. Everything else is a to-do, but it shouldn't be hit because we're not creating them. So we should never run into that problem. Okay, so what do I need to do for spawn refiller? So if the creep has no energy, so I guess like we need to figure out what's your job, and maybe we need to like set this up. We could add it as a target on the creep. We could add in. What if I want to do that as like a 1-2 pass? Like set the target. I remember back in the old like Screeps tutorial, that's what they would recommend you do. Set a target on the creep. Oh, it'd be a job, right? So like you're a spawn refiller, but you're also like there's a couple jobs here. That makes sense. Let's see. So spawn refiller roll. I want to if the creep has run out of energy. Okay, let's just start like where we're starting right now. The creep has no energy, and therefore we need to harvest energy. So your job will be a harvester. So your role is to refill your current, like you'll switch back and forth between two jobs. Refill, harvest, and like actually deploy, like deposit your energy into the spawn. Between each tick, because it takes time, it's going to take several ticks for it to get to the energy source and harvest it until it's full. That makes it really tough. I'm going to have to... So your role is this one. I need a job. I need to assign a job. Like I'm thinking we can have this like jobs enum here. Very similar to what we have with roles. So we have like refill, build, harvest, heal, range attack, melee attack. So those seem fine. So I think I'm going to need a job for this. Given our creep, the very first thing we want to do is check to see what job do you have. So assign jobs. So I'm actually thinking every creep needs a job. So for creep in this thing, match the role. This will be to, okay, tell it to run. I am also thinking that I need to, before I tell it to run, I need to assign what the job is. It's like assign a job. Which would probably be another function. So you'll take a creep. I can get the role from the creep. Okay, so assign job. What are we gonna do here? Right, so for the role, so each job is gonna be different per role. So we match. Well, if I'm matching off of this thing, that's very similar to like what we're doing right up here right now. I kind of wonder if I get my role. Now, if I do that separately, I wonder if I want to break this out into two different sections. So I just like let roll. So I get the roll out of here, and then we assign jobs. Isn't it more like a state? Is a builder ever going to refill? Yes. So I'm thinking like refill means go and harvest. Is that right? No. Okay. Isn't more like a state? Yeah. So I guess really, this is not really a job. Okay, so hold on. If I don't do it as a job, what if I do this like specifically to the roles? So if I do like an enum, this would be a spawn refiller jobs. So that way, this would be more of like the state that the spawn refiller is in, because builder is also going to have its own, but maybe I change it around too, because they're like different sources of work or different like things. Maybe they need to be different. Maybe. Yeah, it'd basically be work harvest. I guess that would be it, right? Those are the different things. Like we have spawn. Yeah, hold on. Let's go take a look at this again, because I wrote these out down there a long time ago. So we have refill is basically work. So like do your jobs, like that's run. Build is run. Harvest is gather. So like refill yourself. Heal is run. Range attack is run. Melee attack is run. So run, harvest. Really like do your primary job or harvest are like the two different things that you could be doing. I think that makes sense, because then I know that if it's we could change this to like work. Do your job. Do what we created you to do. So I guess the thing is, like, bring this back to like a business type model. Harvesting isn't itself value adding. The refilling of the spawner is value adding. Oh, by run you mean more like run away? Why would I create creeps that run away? No, they should all be willing to just die for me. We can create more. I mean, yes, it would probably, I guess, like, this is what you're saying. This is like the state, right? So it's not your job, it's your state. You're working your active job, you're harvesting, and then we have room for more. Like, for example, run away if we're going to allow you to survive. But I'm a dictator to these creeps. They are gonna die. Maybe we'll run away. Probably not for tutorial, but like for other things, I can see us like adding to state here, and this will allow us to do that. So let's do this. We're gonna have an enum of, essentially it's a single state machine. So we have, I'll just do a creep state just to make sure I don't override with anything else. And so we're going to start with 2 right away. So work and harvest. All right, so we'll build this out. So assign state, assign creep state. So we take in our creep, and the first thing we need to know is what is their current state. So we need to get the current state, which we can get this custom string from the creep, so that's great. So we're going to do the same thing we did. We're going to import from for creep state. From, and it's a, I think we did string, right? Oh, right, no, creep. So reference to a creep for creep states. Ah, stop hitting that. Where am I? Okay, so we take in a creep. And okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use this get custom string from creep, which gives us a string. So we can match on this. So we can match on get custom string from creep, pass it the creep. The key is going to be the state. And then as stir. So we can get work, and if you're work, then self work. If you are harvest, self harvest. If you're literally anything else, I want you to be and sort of like a unknown. We don't know what state you're in. Hopefully we should never get here, but okay. So I can now get the creep state from this. So back down to here. So let, so our current state is equal to creep state from creep. Okay, so we now have our creep state. If we have your role, because you're your creep, so maybe we should get your role too. That role equals Okay, so I have your role, I have your creep state. I now want to check based upon your role, you do different things. So we're gonna match the role. So match role. If you're a spawn refiller, I then also need to check state. So if our creep state is work, so it's not going to look great. I don't know a good way to like make this look good yet. So it'll unfortunately have to be this for right now. But okay, so spawner filler, if you're working. Okay, so first of all, this should be easy, right? If you're unknown, because let's say you were just created and you don't have one, in that case, I want you to be assign creep state. Right, so your state is going to be harvest. So if you're unknown, just become a harvester. Now I have attached role to creep. I can also do the same thing to attach state to creep. And what's the difference between this? Well, we're not going to have role. So this would be, so changing all of these things. This would be state. This would be a creep state. To a creep, okay. So target creep, property value. This is state. Value state into, so we need to do an into a JS value. Error setting state on creep. So everything else is exactly the same thing. So I kind of want to adjust this. So it attach to creep, and then I want the key, which is a stir. Now this is the value. Ooh, but it's the value of one thing or the other. I don't know if I want to do generics for this. Although really, okay, so creep state, the value is, I could do the into outside this. This is a JS value, really. So then you become this value, like that. Okay, so then error setting, I want key on state. I don't know if I can do the value. I don't know if I can get that out. It doesn't yell at me. So maybe I can, but I don't know what it's going to give me. So a very generic attached to creep here. So go find, let's do this one first. So attach to creep. So attach to creep our value. Okay, so I want to take this creep state unknown, essentially a JS value. Really, I do want to take creep state unknown into is really what I want to do. No, sorry. I want to do creep state harvest into. Okay, so if your work, I want to, I guess this is going to be JS. It's all at the same time. Nope, don't, not too much. We have a JS value from stir. Okay, so work harvest unknown is what you become. So then, okay, unknown becomes a harvester in the case of a spawn refiller. So we'll do a creep state harvest into. Okay, the creep itself, that's fine. And then the key is going to be the state. Okay, seems easy enough. Harvest. So how do we know? Okay, so if you're currently a harvester, I want you to start harvesting and do work if you're fill up on energy. So if the creep, I want to handle state changes prior to checking the state. Let's see. I guess that's a good question. Do I need to know what the current state is? Do I need to know what the current state is? Yes, I think I do. So what are you thinking about for the handle state changes prior to checking state and a tick behind? What I'm doing right now is, where's my run? Here it is. Basically, figure out what your role is, and then, oh, I haven't done it yet. So we're going to, okay, for each creep, then I want to update the state here, and then we run it from that. Shouldn't do current state, doesn't affect what state you should be in unless you're already in the correct state. Yeah, current state shouldn't affect what I'm in unless I'm already in the correct state. It's more of like telling it what I'm in. Let's see. So, right. I basically am saying like, should I change states? But okay. So, for example, if I'm unknown, become a harvester. If I'm a harvester, I want to check to see, okay, if my creep max is... So that should still happen in the same one because I'm doing this before. I think this is gonna work. But let me know if when I get to the point where I actually start working on the other stuff, if maybe I'm still like not doing it correctly. So if creep dot store dot what's the name of it? It's get free capacity. Don't care what type. So if you're 0, so if there's no free capacity, then I'm done harvesting, and now I want to attach to creep. Value is going to be creep state work into the creep, and the key is going to be state. Otherwise, we're not changing the state. Continue being a harvester. And it's very similar for work. Oh, I forgot you to be... Oh no! You misunderstood a feature request. So uncommon, it's common. Well, hopefully you didn't go too far into it before you're able to get feedback and sort of like discover you're going down the wrong path. Okay, so if creep to store, get free capacity equals 0, attached to creep. Okay, so in this case, it's get used capacity. If our used capacity is 0, we're empty. Now become a harvester. Just means more work, not the end of the world. Well, I mean, that's good. So as long as you're not like damaging your professional relationship, you're fine. Even though it's painful. So sorry about that. And I guess more work time. Okay, so for a spawn refiller, we now are going to be swapping through different states constantly. So we can now assign creep state. This is in the run. So going to assign creep state, pass it in a reference to the creep, and there we go. So that's the first thing we do, is we assign creep state to the creep. Then we're going to run the creep from the role. And so this is where, okay, we get the role from here. Okay, yeah. This is what I had in my mind. It was I was going to run this before I ran it. So first I update the state, and then like the second thing is now we're going to get the role and then run from that. So okay, run spawn refiller role. So this is back to here. Run spawn refiller role. We have our creep. I want to get the state that we're in. So let the, I guess, state equals state from creep gives us a creep state. I can match off of this. We should never be an unknown. So if we are, I want to let us know. So this is spawn refiller in unknown state. Don't do anything else. Okay, work time. So, if we're in work mode, I want to. I need the spawn. Okay, so I need the spawn. Spawn is a structure spawn. Or put this on the target, which I'm not. I don't think I need to do that. Okay, so in work. Work is going to be move over and deposit your energy into the spawn. So we're going to do that result equals creep dot. It's not deposit. What is it? It's transfer. Transfer. Our target is the spawn. The resource type. I want this to be energy, and the amount is a none, so it becomes everything. That gives us this return code. So if our return code result equals return code not in range, I want to then move towards it. So creep dot move to spawn. Okay, easy enough for this. So harvest, the complete opposite. Result equals creep dot harvest. Our target. Okay, so we need to first find the energy sources, so that energy. Now I can know that this is going to be like, we have a builder, we have builder and refiller. We have three things that are going to need to harvest. So I might as well create a function to do the harvesting for me. So function harvest. So we'll take in a creep. Okay, so let's get the energy sources. I think there's only one in this map. So let's do, I guess we'll call them sources equals objects by prototype. Source, I think, is what it is. Okay, that gives me a vec of sources. I'm pretty sure there's only one. So in this specific case, we're just going to go after the first one. So if for some reason I can't find it, so if sources is empty, it's warn could not find any energy sources. Panic. Okay, so if we get to this point, we're good to go. So I can get the first one, which is, okay, so then I'm going to say creep dot, oh, nope. That results. Creep dot harvest. I want a reference to sources 0. Result equals encode not in range. Move to sources of 0. Okay, so this is gonna be harvest. Where's my thing? Assign creep state. Run spawn refiller roll. Okay, so then I want you harvest, pass in the creep, and we're good to go. Okay, I have 2 errors. Takes 2 arguments. Oh, right. So you take in the spawn also. And now you're happy, no errors, which means we should start seeing, if we run this, our refiller refilling. Nothing else will happen because we're not building anything else, but we sort of like hopefully are creating the very basics of everything. Error, custom value with key state on creep is not a string. Well, that's not good. So you're not going to do anything because it couldn't find. Let's pause. Okay, so custom value. When I'm attempting to put something in on the creep, custom value with key state on creep is not a string. So that is attached to creep here. It's saying that this value is not a string. And it needs to be. Okay, so we're doing this from values here like that. Attached to creep. Attached to creep, we do, okay, so we do it 3 times. Creep state, harvest into, work into, harvest into. So that's fine. So into JS value. Do a from stir. How was my other one working? Because that was working just fine. Let's see, attach roll to creep. Okay, so we have this roll into. Oh, interesting. So I do it the other way around. JS value from stir, and then I match. I still don't see how that's any different. Unless I ran into a situation where it was something weird. Can I see what you are? Okay, so edit error setting key. So that's not my error. That's an error from WebAssembly, or it's an error from Screeps itself. I don't think any of these line numbers are going to be accurate. 289, 194. $289 is this. That's probably not accurate. 184. Also not accurate. So those are from the sort of like the compiled WebAssembly line numbers. So not all that helpful. So custom value on key state on string on creep is not a string. I want it to be a string. Okay, let's make you exactly like the other one. So we'll do a into JS value. So to JS value like this. From stir. Seems all makes sense. I don't really understand how this would change anything. I can't imagine it would. These are all strings, stirs as they were, but that should be fine. So it goes into JS value. X is out. That's my into JS value. Attached to creep value is this JS value. So attached to creep state harvest, and then into should turn that into a JS value. And it seems to be happy here, so it thinks that it is. And then we have the key state, and state here. That's all fine. And that's that JS value from stir again. I didn't like pull anything weird in here. Good panicking like that. So wasn't bind gen JS value. So let's see. You recompiled. Let's try this again. See if we get the same error. I mean, I can't imagine we won't get the same error. Yeah, so this is right away. Custom value with key state on creep is not a string. Can I see what this is when we attach? So attach roll to creep. So let's try a warn. Attaching roll key. Sorry, attaching to creep. Okay, so we're gonna have for that one, it's gonna be the value. We can maybe do a reference to the value, and for you, we'll do key. Okay, so creep.id. let's see whether or not we can get that printed out right before that error message happens. Because we're in the JavaScript sort of like runtime, I was kind of expecting that to work. With key state. So again, it's this state that we're trying to attach. But this warn doesn't happen. Okay, so what if I take you off? Is the creep creepy? Good question. Fancy Yellow also hello. Right now it's being unhappy because we're apparently trying to attach something to it that it doesn't want us to. So that's not great. Let's try this again. So we're not even getting to that line of code. Custom value with key state on creep is not a string. Wait a second. Custom value with key state. Is that my error? Custom value with keys. Oh, it's this one. It's this one. Here it is. So it's not down here. It's up here. Okay, found it. This is that custom string. Okay. So it's not a string because it doesn't exist yet. That's why I can return a string here. So if it doesn't exist yet, I want to return an empty string. So basically just a string new, an empty string. Or default or whatever that is. Okay. Attaching state to creep. Okay, it's not a string, but it's okay. We're not canceling out. Everything's working. We created a creep. It's got the role of harvest, so it's going over. It's harvesting. Let's see when it fills up with energy. It should do it pretty quickly because we only have a single storage, a single carry. That yellow and white is a little bit hard to see. So, oh, and there it went and delivered it to the structure spawn. So perfect. So we now have our harvester, our spawn refiller working as expected. Okay, perfect. I think I should definitely commit this. Okay, so we are, let's see. We're not creating, but like we are having like spawn refiller is working. Is doing its job. Okay. So next up, if we have a spawn refiller, I now want to have, what's next important wise? Probably the builder. So we want the builder next. So that's two things. So assign creep states, create creep body, Okay, so control spawner. If let sum spawner fill account equals this thing, so then we're going to do an if let. So if else. Ooh, is there another one that I can do? So if let sum is this. And I can only do one at a time, right? So I want to do an early return of you. Return of you. If we reach the end, it's a none. So then we're going to control spawner. Okay. Now we want to do the same thing, but now for a builder. Which kind of sucks that I'm having to do this multiple times like this. I don't yet know a good way to not do that. Maybe we'll fill it out eventually. So we're gonna have just your count. I'm gonna slowly make it more generic as I go through, and then we'll like maybe figure out how to do it. So this is gonna be a role builder. Okay, so if the count is less than 1, I only need one builder. So return spawn creep, role builder. Oh, yeah, role builder. Else none, return spawn keep. Okay, I don't need an else in this case. So that makes it a little bit simpler. Okay, so this should create for us a builder. It assigns the role to the creep, so it attaches to the creep as a builder. We then assign the creep state. So if you're a builder, what are the different things? So we're probably going to want to match the state here too. Well, I'll just do it manually. So match state. Okay, so if you're an unknown state, I want you to harvest. So attach to creep. Our value is going to be creep state harvest into creep, and the key is state. Okay. If you're working, so you are currently in the middle of building a building thing, so it's really going to be the same thing, isn't it? If you've run out of energy, time to harvest. So if creep.store.get get used capacity is 0, attach to creep state harvest into creep and state. If you're harvesting, then if you're full, start doing work. So this is exactly the same as the other one. So I believe what I can do is mix them together. So okay, I want spawn refiller or role builder. Okay, so that sets this up. And then the final thing is based upon that, we're gonna want Oh, we have this like run spawner filler role. I want to do a function run builder role. I guess it's just run builder. I will take in the creep. And that's it, really. No, I need the build locations. No, I'm just gonna do this. Run builder. Okay, so we've taken the creep. I need to match on. Okay, I need to get the state. Let state equals. Okay, so if it's time for us to do work, what does that mean? If we're doing work, we're gonna move over to hopefully the closest. I mean, it could either be a closest or just any of them. I don't really care. Maybe it could be like the first harvest site that we see. I don't know. If that's always the same one, then that's fine for us to build. If I want like the closest one, that would be something else. So I want to get the work sites. So let construction sites equals get objects by prototype, construction sites. Okay. Now there's a possibility that there aren't any. So if construction sites is empty, then I'm done. It's not bad necessarily. It just means there's nothing else more to build. So I'll just sit here and wait till death takes over. Wait till I die of old age. So we're good. We just return. If we get to this point, we have a construction site. So we can just choose the first one from it, and we build it. So that result equals creep.build construction sites. So get the first one, build that. If result and if you're not in range, move to construction sites of 0. So go there. Okay, so that's great. If you're in harvest mode, then just do a harvest. So creep, go harvest. And if you're an unknown state, should not ever happen. So just no op. Okay, so run builder and do this and run. Pass in the creep, and that's it. So let's see if now we start building the turrets. Okay, we're building the next creep. There's our builder. It starts harvesting. So that's this one right here. This one we can build all 4 of the turrets too, which is nice. Hey, I mean, it's not great that you take up that space next to the energy source to do this, but also at the same time, we have plenty of space there, so that's gonna be fine. So it is now currently attempting to build that turret. Now I'm curious, is it gonna get the same order the next time it goes through and tries to do this? I think it is. I think it's always doing it in the order that they got created. Okay, seems to be fine for this. So great. Okay, so you're gonna now build that one, and then once this is done, so let's fast forward. So do you actually finish building this? Are you gonna need help? Oh my gosh, I don't even get a single. Okay. I get a little bit over a quarter of the way before the enemy shows up. So we need more builders. Is what I'm saying. Now, like, I don't really need turrets, but it's fun to have them. So the cool thing that I should be able to do is I should be able to add 2 more builders fairly easily here. Let's see, I want the control spawner, and so role builder, if you're less than, like, if you're less than 3, spawn a creep. So can I get 1 built, like 1 tower built in this time? That'll be interesting. Let's move forward. So we start creating all of these. Oh, that refiller has to refill our spawn before it can build another one. There he goes. Okay, there's another. So here's our 2 builders. And they should both be working on this same one. They are. Okay. Now the question is, with those 2, okay, 3 now. I still can't get a single turret built. I was 1,200 out of 1,250 progress. I was like that close, except everybody died. So I think that the fundamental idea of having a turret in this level is not good. They attack far too fast, and I can't build the turret in time. So what we can do is we can say, look, builder, I don't even need to check you. So control spawner, I don't need to check you. We're not going to build at all. So what do we need to do? So here, I don't need to create any tower construction sites. Like, we can have all the roles and everything else because I can take these into future game modes and use this as a template for that. So I'm not unhappy with this. It's just more of like, I don't need any tower construction sites. So because that, we're not going to have any builders. So then that's going to be the next thing is control spawner. I want, let's actually create these as, I could do it as an enum, but I think I'm just going to do a const. So const, like desired. See, this would be desired refill, like spawn refiller. Count. So you're a U8. And we'll set this to be, I need just one of you. Perhaps I want 2 of you, so you can just be faster helping us create new army members. Const desired builder count is a U8, and we want 0 for right now. So I can actually keep the other code in here. So this is count builder. So count is less than desired builder count, spawn creep, spawn roll builder. Okay. So that's great. That's really good to know. Next up, so we don't need a turret refiller at all. Fighter. So army time. So let's build our melee fighter. So spawn refiller roll. No. This one. So control spawner. Okay, so first of all, sign up with here. Desired fighter count U8. Now, like considering how few ticks, like how few of these creeps we can create before we run into the enemy gets here, I might want to do something like only have 1, maybe 2. I might be able to get away with 2 of these. Okay, so let's do that. So control spawner. Next thing. So I'm thinking for a function, sort of like making this a little bit more generic helps out a little bit. I think what I can do is create a function to get the role and build it. So what if I just do it right here? So this is going to be build, like create creep if if needed. So this will take in our spawn. We'll take in our roll count. And we'll return an option and really create creep if needed. We'll take in a spawn, we'll take in a roll count, and I guess we'll take in a roll too. An option roll. I really want to like pull this in essentially. Here. So create creep if needed. Put some count, roll count get roll builder. So you're going to be a reference to the roll. Okay, we get this count is desired builder count. So this is going to be desired count. So needed. This would be a U8. return, okay, then spawn creep, the spawn, and the roll, else, now this is interesting. So like spawn creep, roll builder. Oh yeah, it would be the same roll. So, because if you can't find it in there, we have 0 essentially. So build it. Yes, okay. Fix you. Don't have a return. No return. Oh, let's see. You're happy, kind of. If let's, so else, then you'd have an else. That's a none. Why are you upset? If let sum count equals, okay, so I have this if and the else here. So roll count gets with the roll, then take this count. If it's less than needed, then spawn creep, the spawn of the roll. Mismatch types, expected enum, option, final test, roll, found, unit type. So that's open, closed, open, closed here. I do wonder if I just want to do this as if I want to build it. And don't actually spawn the creep. That might be, okay. So don't create the creep if needed. So is creep needed. I wonder if I want to do that because then, okay, I have needed here. I have roll. We have the roll count, and I don't need the spawn. So I just do that. You become a Boolean. So let's just do this again, not copy and paste you, and maybe I'll be a little bit happier. Okay, so we'll first start by getting the roll count out. So if let sum count, roll count, get the reference of roll. I wonder if I also needed and then maybe just like get the count as just like the abstraction of this. That might, maybe I'll just do that is like get creep count. So you're a U8 that you return. Okay, so then we return a dereferenced count. And this is an option. Okay, so if I do an else, I would return 0, but I kind of want to do this as like now. If this reference to a U8, which is, I would need to remove that outside of the option. There's a way to do this. Okay, there's a much better way to do this. I can do roll count. Okay, so I want to get The key is the role. Now it's this option with a reference inside of it. I want to move the reference outside of it, which I think I can do as, no, I want to do the other way around. That's not it either. Okay, gonna do a, unwrap our default, because the default of a U8 is gonna be 0. Like that. But you're gonna be upset because you are considering dereferencing the borrow. I don't think I can do that. Yeah, because then it can't unwrap our default. And that's not going to work. What's the way to, like, I guess, okay, so get this. This is not great, but I'll clone you and then I'll unwrap our default. Expected U8 found a reference to U8. Right, because I'm cloning the option that has a reference in it. So that's still not helpful. Tech Happy, hello. Rust is interesting to you, but man, is it confusing. Yeah, there's definitely like pieces of it that can be confusing. Like many things, like you just get sort of used to it, and then it just sort of like, I think a lot of people, when they say like, oh, it makes sense to me, it's more like we just got used to the intrinsicies. No, the quirks. We got used to like sort of like the parts that are weird when compared to other languages. So I don't think I've had to do this before, but I want to Rust. So I want a option with a reference T to a reference option. That's what I want to do. You're right, C, but I just do it good enough to compile. I mean, if you're able to provide value, then that's good enough. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I can use the map. The map. I keep on forgetting about map. Okay, so we use map for this. So we get, so it's a little bit weird, but we're going to use map on an option, which is only going to give us the value if it's a sum. So we're going to map, map or returns the provided default result if none, or applies a function to the contained value if any. So x is some foo, x map or 42. Okay, this is what it should be if it's doesn't exist. Otherwise, get the value out and then do the thing. Okay, so now what's the difference between map or map or else? Computes a default function result if none, or applies a different function to the contained value if any. Oh, it's yeah, okay, I would just want map or, because then it's the same thing no matter what. So this is a 0. And then this function is going to be our count. And I want to return a dereferenced count. So this gets the creep count now. So let's see what I can do with this. Here. I just want to say if get creep count, so our roll count, the roll is going to be, we'll spawn refiller. I don't need needed for this. Okay, so if that's less than desired spawn refiller count, then spawn the creep. And I don't need this entire else anymore because this returns a 0. So perfect. So that makes things a lot simpler. So then we don't need builders. I'm not going to do the other ones. So let's just do fighters next. So if get creep count, roll count, roll fighter. So fire count. Turn, spawn creep, spawn, and then roll fighter. Run. Okay. That will create a fighter now using this body. So next up, we want to assign the creep state. So turret refiller is going to remain to do because we're never going to use this. So we don't have turrets. So this won't cause an error. Fighter. I kind of wonder if I take you off, can I do like an or that? Oh, I can. Nice. So really, if it's none or anything else, it's just this. That's really it. Okay, so if we're a fighter, we want to match the state. So assign. Okay, so what are my states? Work, harvest, and unknown. So basically, this is gonna be kind of funny. If you're work, you're fine. Nothing happens. We don't change you. So if you're harvest, so I'm going to move you to the bottom, and I'm just going to say if you're a no operation. If you're a creep state, harvest or unknown. Actually, you know what? Never mind. I'm changing my mind. If you're anything other than work, then I want to assign. So attach to creep. So our value is going to be creep state work into. Oh, I have 4% power left. Hold on before I crash my system. I'll be right back. Okay. Disaster averted. All right. So, let's see. Attached to creep, creep, and then key is state. Basically, if you're not doing work, like your only job is to just fight. So just do work. That's it. We could eventually have running away, and then we will handle that here. But we don't right now. You just run towards the enemy and attack them until you're dead. Or they're dead. Or both. Okay, so great. So fighter, you do that. Then what's next? We attach the role. Or sorry, we attach the state. Now we have a function run fighter. We take in our creep. And then let's also take in those enemies. That's going to be a reference to a vec of creep. So what are we going to do? We want to find... I mean, we can attack the closest enemy. We can be smart about this. You haven't made it through the tutorial for the arena yet. What is the mission in the final test? So, the mission is probably as you would expect. It's it's basically enemies are going to attack you, and you have just a short period of time. It looks like around 350 to 400 so on ticks to mount a defense. So, looking at what we have so far. We have a spawner, we have an energy source, there's a bunch of sort of muck around us. What are these? These are swamps. We have a bunch of swamp around us, and then up in the top left corner, walled in, are 3 enemies. And they start here. They have a healer, they have a ranger, and they have a sort of a melee fighter. And they're all attacking this corner, and as soon as they break through that, they then come and attack, and it takes them a while to break this up. Let's see. Looks at tick 250, they break out and they start making their way down. Okay, so do I actually have a fighter now? I should have a fighter. I have 2 fighters here. So I've successfully created my 2 fighters and my 2 spawner refillers. So this is great. So now telling the fighters to actually do their job. So I don't even need to check what state they're in. We know a fighter is just going to do this thing. I don't care. So in that case, we have the enemies. I could try to like figure out which one is a healer and take that one out first. That might make sense. I could just find the closest enemy and attack it. Kind of like the idea of like finding the enemy healer. So of the enemies, I want to find like is a healer. So function is healer. So we'll take in a creep and we'll turn a Boolean if they're a healer or not. So let's see. This one, I think we can get a body off of this. So if I do creep dot, okay, creep dot body dot. So what did that give me? Oh, it gives me a vec of body parts. Okay, so for body part in creep.body. Let's see, what can I do with this? Body part, I can then do a part, so want to, oh, I guess like if any of these parts are healers, I return true immediately. Otherwise, we're going to return false here. So if body part dot part equals part heal, return true. So, okay. Let's first find to see if any of these enemies are healers. Then I want to grab that out. Let's see. I could do a keep. So let enemy healers equals enemies dot, so retain this method operates in place. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to iter, and then we're going to filter. We're going to have a predicate, essentially. So we're going to take a creep and we're going to run isHealer through that. If isHealer is true, we keep it. And then we will collect this into a vec of a reference of creep. Okay. So now I have enemy healers. So if enemy healers is not empty. Okay, so if the enemy healers are not empty, we're going to attack the first one. So we'll just I'll do a function attack function, because we're going to do this a lot. Attack, we'll take a creep. Russ Jr., hello. Or is it Junior or JR, something else? But hello, either way. You had no clue you could use Rust for Screeps? Yeah, so I had seen it before, but I hadn't really thought too much about it. And then Arena came out. I'm like, okay, let's take a look into this. Let's go find Rust, that like Rust library that I saw, and try it out. And it works pretty well. I've been enjoying it so far. Now it's not as easy. Like if I wanted to actually just play the game on its own, I probably would choose TypeScript or just JavaScript and just go from there, because it's a lot faster. But this also like is really leveling up my WebAssembly game. Okay, so creep. Yeah, so like we have creep. Oh no, you know what? I shouldn't pre-optimize for that. I should just do the attack, then we'll see how this goes. So we'll do creep.attack. And then our target is, let's just do the first one. So enemy healers of 0. Okay, so let all right, I'll try to remember just to say Russ next time. Okay, so let result equals that, if result is equal to return code not in range, dot move to. In this case, enemy healers. I already have a way to make this better in my mind. It's been so long since you messed with Screeps. I didn't even know Arena was a thing until just now. It's still in like alpha, so it's still a very, very much a pre-release. Although it's pretty solid. It's not like some of the pre-releases you see out there. Okay, Run Fighter. I think the biggest thing is it needs more people playing. Then it will, because like there's too many high level people. I think we need like a lot of junior developers jumping on there to fill out the ladder. Okay, so Run Fighter. So this then happens up here in a run function. So under Fighter, we do a Run Fighter. You take in a creep, and you take in a reference to the enemy creeps. Okay. I have no errors. Let's see if we did this successfully and our fighters attack. Your biggest problem with Screeps is that you always felt you were lost because you didn't have clear objective. Would you say that Arena? Oh yeah, very much so. I'll show you the other ones right after this. So let's see if this works. This is very much a single, like, you have a strong objective, you code just that objective. Anything else that you do is complete waste and is just wasting your time and probably going to make you fail. To that end, it's a completely different way that they run the code and execute everything, which I like it a lot. There's some really cool feedback cycles here. So we created our two spawn repellers right off the bat. So we're 42, let's see, we're going to be 50 or so ticks in, and then we're going to start building our next one. Maybe? Oh, wow. Okay, so it's going to take us a lot longer before we can start building the first warrior or first fighter. There we go. Okay, so at like 70, at tick 70, we create our first one. And our fighter is heading off. They haven't reached the end yet, but our fighter is just like, you know what? I'm heading off in that direction. This is probably not a good idea. I probably want them to like wait around a little bit, but it's gonna head over here and just sort of like see how it goes. Okay, I have two fighters, so the second one is coming up. And now I just like pacing around the outside of the walls, waiting until they break through. Which is still going to take a while. So let's fast forward until then. Okay, they break through and it becomes a chase now, and they're just as fast as me. So, oh, and because of the location of it, if I'm just chasing them, that's not going to work. I'm not going to successfully, I'm just going to be behind them the entire time. Okay, but let's wait until they get close to here. I could be building rangers as like defenders sitting here. Perhaps I should leave the fighters here until the other ones get in range, and then have the rangers go out and like hang around by the wall, because they could probably attack through the wall. Maybe. I haven't tried yet. But here we go. Okay, we're both attacking our healer. It's dead. Okay, so it dies. Actually, we might be able to just win this straight up without even any rangers. Because at this point in time, running our fighters, so we get the enemy healers, that's fine. Let's kill the enemy healer first. After that, I want to get the enemy... Okay, so if we do this, you're done. We can return. After this, I want to check to see if there are enemy... Actually, I don't necessarily want it to be like a return like that, do I? So if healers is empty, I really want something like a target off of here. Like let's target going to be equal to, so if our healer, okay, so if it's not empty, I want the first one. So enemy healers of 0. Else if, okay, so if the healers is not empty, we need more. Okay, so let enemy, what would be next? We should probably take out their fighters or their rangers. I think the rangers do a little bit less damage than the fighters. So, I mean, at that point, it doesn't really matter. So, if the enemies, okay, so else if enemies, so enemies is not empty, enemies of 0. And I want you to be a reference. Okay. Finally, if we haven't reached any of them at all, we can just do a return out of here. So empty return, we're good to go. But now we have a target. So at this point, we're just gonna say creep.attack, a reference to the target. So if this is equal to return code, not in range, move to target. Okay, so this is a fighter. That being said, I only want to create one of these. I want to create the rest of these as rangers, because I think the rangers, we can start attacking them through the wall and maybe we won't even take any damage. So const desired ranger count. Let's do like 5. We'll create 5 rangers and one fighter. I don't even think I need a healer for this. So, okay, we do that. Control spanner. So let's do it in between here. So if get creep count, roll ranger is less than desired ranger count. Turn spawn creep. Ranger. Okay, so this will spawn 5 rangers for us. Then the filler roll. Okay, no, we want to attach state. I don't actually need to attach the state ever, but I think it's doing the thing. Assign creep state. So I want this to do essentially nothing because rangers and healers are always just working. They don't need a state. So you are just a no operation. Homeless, you registered a domain name and now you want mail service. You found Google Workspace. They charge $5 for any email account. You need 3. Is this too expensive, you think? So what's a cheaper alternative than to use something like that is to use a domain email forwarding services. So that's what you would say is like, okay, this domain points to like your public Gmail account. And I don't remember off the top of my head, but there is a way for you to tell your registrar, here's your email DNS system settings, and like here's where to send it to. That should work. I don't think it's too expensive. Like, yeah, Cloudflare, AWS, routes, like a bunch of them should handle it. And if not, like Cloudflare can. So there's ways to do that for a lot cheaper than $5 per email account per month. A lot cheaper. So I would look into that. And hopefully that should help out. Worst case example, if you can't figure anything out and you want Gmail, then transfer your domain to Gmail's registrar, and for like $12 a year, you would be able to have that domain point to your email address. That would work too. But yeah, I think Russ Jr. or Russ is has the right idea. Do you use something like Cloudflare DNS sort of wrapping to forward that for you? I don't remember how to do it off the top of my head, so you'll have to do some Googling on that. Okay, so what are we doing? We don't do any creep state for that thing, so now we do a run ranger. So we're gonna have our creep and our enemies. We're gonna do the same thing. I want to get the enemy healers first. So it's right now it looks very similar to this. I want to get the enemy healers and we're gonna target them. So gonna do this. So run ranger. Enemy healers, we grab you out. Okay, so target, enemy healers. So if there's a healer, we target the first one of that. Otherwise, we just target the first enemy that we see. This is a ranged attack instead of an attack. And then we move towards it otherwise. Okay, let's try it. Okay, then run ranger. This will work in our run. So creep and a reference to enemy creeps. All right. If you're interested in doing that with Cloudflare, it's called Cloudflare Email Routing and is free, though you do need to use Cloudflare's DNS in order for it to work. Their DNS service is also free as well. So there is a way to transfer DNS from your registrar to another registrar. So you don't need to like buy it through Cloudflare. What you can do is register through it. They may or may not charge like a small amount for that transfer fee. I've seen like some that don't and they're free, and some that like will just cost you, a few bucks per year. And it is usually like a one-time charge to do that, and then that domain owns it. When they renew, it's now that yearly ongoing charge. All right, let's see if we win. We win. Okay, so our rangers are doing the job now. Let's watch a replay. So we start off as normal. We build our economy first, so we get our 2 refillers to go off and start harvesting. I guess we could make these 4. There's probably a way to optimize and figure out exactly how many refillers that we want to have per spawn. Homeless, no, it's not exactly that. You need to deploy. You need to transfer your domains to Cloudflare and let that Cloudflare own it. So it's a little bit more. Should be 5 work parts. The sources are same to the world. I just have 1, so they're really cheap. But yeah, this is really small. That being said, it worked. Let's see. Okay, so we get our first ranger. Come on. Quick. Yep, so it's range attack. So we get to follow you going up. But yeah, that first, I can do like 5 work parts, would make it really work really fast. And then I can also do like a bigger carry too. Oh, 5 work parts is the max a source can handle. Oh, so yeah, it is very different now. The sources never run out of energy. They never like dwindle down to nothing. And then you have to wait for them to refill like before. Oh, you don't need to do a full domain transfer. Okay, well, that's good to know. Yeah, look at this. I can attack them now out here before they breach the wall. So I kill their healer. I mean, can this creep do it? Like, I don't have multiple attack parts, so it's going to be very, it's low damage. It's actually really hard for me to see exactly how much damage I'm doing. But I'm getting my second ranger here, so that's good. Well, the second problem, Pigalot, would be how much time do you really have to build them? Like if I don't have enough energy in my spawn, then I can't even build that big of a thing. Also, there's no of those like structure spawn type things anymore. Or at least I don't have access to them here. Okay, so took out their oh, that's too bad. Look at that. That's just not quite in range, and this is the first one on the list. So really, I wanted to go towards the closest one if I really wanted to optimize it, but it's probably fine. But we're right about to the point of breaking through the wall. That's funny. The AI totally bugged. Like they didn't leave, and mine other ones didn't try to get in, even though they're trying to move too. So great, the AI bugged. But okay, I took those out, and then these ones are an easy. Now there's 3 of us, and there's 4 on the way. There we go. Okay. And so we won without them leaving the. Without them even leaving this area. So perfect. So we passed it. All of the tutorials have now been completed. So previously I was doing some capture the flag, spawn and swamp, collect and control. I think some of the code that we've written will help out a little bit in some of these other ones, but let's do a quick introduction to some of these other methods. The capture the flag to me is going to be the interesting one. I've gotten to rank 385, which feels high until you realize that there's actually not that many people playing yet because this is a pre-release. My last game was versus Floating Orange, so you can see my history of games here. When you play, you can set to play against a practice game. So an idle opponent, for example, I can play against. Or I can play against like the most recent opponent again. Because it's just they upload their code and I play against the exact iteration of the code that they had, and I just keep on trying and playing and playing and playing until I win or don't win. So let's show what happens here. I do not beat this opponent. I lose every time. In 636 ticks. 2,000, it's a draw. So here's what the map looks like. I'm down here in the bottom right. I might have reset my codes. This might not do anything. So here's my flag. We have 2 turrets that slowly refill over time. They have a 50 range, and all of my creeps, there's no energy sources. They're all damage dealers. So we have 2 melee units, we have 6 rangers, and we have 6 rangers and 6 healers. That's it. That's our entire team. There's no walls. It's pretty much just open floor. This area is swampland. And throughout the middle of it, they drop these body parts. If a creep rolls across the body part, it grabs that body part and takes it for itself. So my opponents just all moved a bunch of their creeps in towards the flag to protect it. And then at some point in time, they decide, we're done waiting. And so then they run out. At this moment, they run out and it's just a full attack. To win capture the flag, you have to just put your creep on top of the opponent's flag and vice versa. They leave, a single creep behind. Looks like they put a... They leave one of their healers behind, which seems a little bit strange that they leave like a non-damaged healing unit there, but it probably is healing itself if it gets damaged. So maybe that's good. They all rush downwards. Now, I don't think I actually have... I think I reset my code, so my code is not doing anything, so it is not going to be very hard for them. I do find it interesting. They attack and they kill my 2 fighters right away. They're not even going for... Oh no, this one's going for the flag. The rest are playing interference. And then they win. So what we need to do is come up with a strategy to defeat this. Because if it defeats this, it probably can defeat somebody else too. Because so far, I've tried like 3 or 4 different times. I have not successfully been able to defeat an opponent that doesn't just stand still and do nothing. So that's capture the flag. So that's one game type. And then you just code your code, you upload it, and you just basically say, okay, I want to play. We're good to go. You unlock a key by winning matches. And then if you do the entire tutorial, you get 2 keys. So I unlocked capture the flag. I have a key. I can unlock spawn and swamp. So this one is 100 by 100 tiles with random terrain covered mostly by swamp. You have a spawn structure, so you can create creeps. By spending energy storage is available in containers nearby. So it sounds like there is no energy sources. There's no harvesting. So it's just like a limited number of energy that you can use. Use the wrong amount, too bad. That was a big mistake. Additional contested energy storage is available in containers that constantly appear in different places and disappear shortly. The time limit is 2,000 stack ticks. When the time limit is expired, the game finishes with a draw. So that's spawn and swamp. And then collect and control. The same size map. You have a spawn structure that allows you to create creeps by spending energy. There is an energy source nearby, so you can harvest from that. There are containers filled with resource score. Your objective, take control over the score collector. When you transfer resource score to an uncontrolled score collector. Oh, so like your source. Interesting. So your entire point is like to grab energy from containers. Grab score energy? So take something from a container and transfer it to another container. And the one who gets to 3,000 first wins. So that's like, I kind of like it because it's like not exactly just kill the enemy and that's it. It's usually something else, and killing the enemy can help, but is not the only goal. And they do say that every season they're going to release new maps and then new game modes. So this is the pre-release one. Yeah, so I'd say like the weakest part right now is the smaller number of players means that there's more senior developers, more people who like don't have time on their hands, and so therefore can tweak their code and like make it really good. But they're really trying to dive into the rebuild your code, make it your own. Don't just use whatever like the meta was, which is like go download from GitHub like a one of the AIs and just use that and don't actually play the game. They're trying to like change that. I am all for that. So, that's it. We've made our way through the tutorial. So next week, I've been doing these streams every single Sunday. Next week is probably going to be the same thing. The plan is to go back in, and I want to win at least one match in Capture the Flag before I move on to the other ones. So we're going to continue on Capture the Flag and see what we can do. So with that, I'm going to take off and go out and grab lunch. So everybody, I hope that you have a great rest of your day. I'll be back tomorrow morning for web development at 7 a.m. Mountain Time for, I guess, just U.RS and more Rusty stuff. So with that, have a good one. See you next time. Bye.